Hello, welcome to my channel. I am the author and I would like to talk about the purpose of this content. The goal of the Zero to Hero rubric is to show my attempt of utilizing a weapon in the solo content, mainly open world. I take a 4th tier set as some kind of baseline equipment everybody can afford without any meaningful effort. The goal is to buy a tier 9 set with 8.1 weapon because it looks great, while giving a rough estimate of how fast you can farm the money needed. Every chest and fight is being shown. I don't just cut out all my devs and roll out chest and say, "Here, look, a 3 million per hour, easiest money ever." If you would do this, you may just as well just stop at tier 7 and use the set for whatever you want afterwards, or try to get 8.3. I want to show you what you can play even with that kind of FPS, and what you might consider using. Everything I will say now is my own opinion, yours might be different, the truth is always what we all need to touch some grass. Please keep in mind that I will consider every weapon from the point of view of the solo player. Yes, even the heavy mace. At the beginning, let's talk about the skills every bow has and how to use them. The first Q skill, multi-shot, is always used in solo PvE, because after buffs, it now has good DPS while retaining decent AoE. Also, it is generally good in PvP due to the same AoE damage and slow. The second Q, Deadly Shot, is better used in PvP against starter builds, fire, curse, crossbow, etc. Generally, you want to make a use of its range and cut your opponent. The third Q, Poison Shot, is generally used against melee weapon. It has better damage than other two, can't miss, which is obviously important for me, still has decent range but consumes a lot of mana. Now about W. The first W, Ray of Light, does good damage and is useful in PvE. However, in PvP it is difficult to use as it leaves you with no mobility, and with my FPS it becomes way worse. The second W, Frost Shot, makes bow very mobile, completely useless in PvE, but in PvP it's great as it allows you to kite or catch your opponent, or escape if it needed. The passive is always on mana regen, else you will run out of it while clearing mobs very quickly, which will have some unpleasant consequences. Now, let's talk about every bow in detail. The regular bow is considered one of the easiest weapons in the entire game. Your E just buffs your basic attacks, allows you to do a short dash and has short cooldown. This allows you to play a lot more aggressively, as it outbrawls many weapons and make chase down and escape easier. Also, you can utilize the mercenary jacket much easier. Alas, it has huge mana consumption, and I personally had troubles with it due to my FPS and low cooldowns on the skill. That's why it's my least favorite bow in the game. The longbow is a great weapon for both PvE and PvP, has great damage and decent cooldown on its E. It's very simple to use, clear camps very fast and can relatively well fend off several opponents while still being decent in 1v1. The warbow has low cooldown and good damage on its E, but it's somewhat difficult to land and its single target has zero utility. It would be interesting to see some small AoE or a small stunt interrupt on it, even at the cost of some damage. It's bad in PvE, but does well in PvP, allow you to do more damage while avoiding getting close at all. The Whispering Bow, I'll be honest, I hate it! E lowers your defense, so you need an appropriate build to not just get shredded instantly the moment you press E. It doesn't use a lot of mana, has good uptime, low cooldown, big damage, big range, but it makes you feel like you don't wear any armor at all. So you will struggle in PvE and you need to know when exactly you should use it in PvP. And I can't really rely on some timing with 10 FPS. Overall, it's pretty hard to use. The Wailing Bow in solo is questionable. You can use it if you have that kind of desire, I guess. It's just a warbow with E being on cooldown for 3 business days, quite underrated in PvE due to being overshadowed by other bows, but it has some big, beautiful bursts with long range. Has the biggest burst in the entire tree, hence why it's used in ZVZ. But for solo play it's just awful. Insignificant damage, big cooldown, and you can miss it rather easily. Straight up unplayable. Bow of Baden, very popular weapon, but I'm a bit disappointed with it. Its E is very good in PvE, it does a lot of damage, but in PvP your target can just get away from the area, rendering most of that damage useless. And don't even get me started on what will happen if you miss. but it doesn't eat a lot of mana. Gameplay is similar to the Wobble, Kite, and then Kite some more. Mist Piercer is mostly a group weapon, but it's usable even when you are on your own. E has great damage, and AoE can be used up to 4 times before going on cooldown, but it has high cast delay, so you'll need to either hold your opponent in place somehow or reduce your cast delay. Otherwise, you'll likely miss. It can be done with Ray of Light or Royal Helmet, however, on lava tiers your stun will have low duration, so it's better to not use it. Also, it has a 30 seconds cooldown, which make it not really optimal for solo content, but it's still quite easy to use given you're landing your E. The Sky Strider bow is also one of the most popular bows for solo play. It has a fair bit of advantages. Its E has decent AoE damage, immunity to all damage, 25 seconds cooldown and even some ability, that makes it usable both in PvE and PvP. But it has one huge flaw, and it's as big as its price. Also, you will need how to actually land those arrows. In my case, it's even harder when I try to activate the ability and try to shoot, and game doesn't shoot at all. Therefore, you'll need above average skills to unlock its full potential. In conclusion, both are decent both in solo PvE and PvP, but you'll need to accept that you will run a lot. It's not that kind of weapon you can just rush down anything with. Playing the bow is running from the opponent, then trying to chase him while still keeping the distance. The best chest piece for bows almost always would be Assassin Jacket, with a few exceptions like regular and longbow, where you can use Mercenary Jacket. For the head, Guardian Helmet is always good. It can negate some damage, help you to mount up, and remove damage over time effects, such as curse stacks, whatever that fire stuff is throwing at you, bleed, and even poison pot. For the boots, you can go with any regular sprint or anything similar. For more mobility, the better. But do not use royal boots. For the food, I recommend Avalonian Stew, as it allows you to regen much faster of combat, while still boosting your damage, and on bow you will reset often enough to notice it. For potion, whatever you want, but I recommend Invisibility, because it boosts your survivability a lot, allowing you to escape gankers and losing fights easier.